Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of A Little Bit Unglamorous. I'm your host, Erica Renee. We got some holographic nails today. What else do we got? Oh my gosh. We have A Little Bit Unglamorous merch that I am so amped on. These hats turned out so freaking good. I gifted one for Christmas, a pink one, and I saw how amazing they turned out and I had to have one. This is in the stone color. If you are so obliged or interested in wearing one, I think they're so cute. I want one in every color. What else do I got going on here? Oh my gosh, I just got these really cute new like pop sockets that I have next to me. You know, pop sockets have little magnets on them now for the MagSafe. So now when I'm filming, I can take the pop socket off my phone and put it on my tripod. That's so satisfying. And this is my old one. So cute. I'm a pop socket girly. I do not care if they are the millennial thing. Are they? The new Gen Z thing, I guess, is those like little suction cup things that you put on the back of your phone and it like sticks to like a mirror or something so you can use it to film, which is kind of cool. I admittedly got one of those as well with a new phone case, so I'm going to try that out. And now that I have both of them are MagSafe ones, so it's not one of the sticky ones that stays on the back of your phone. You can actually take it off and interchange them, and that is my hyper fixation for the week. Anyway, today there was a solar eclipse. It was around, I think, noontime in San Diego. I didn't see it personally. I didn't have any sunglasses, so I unfortunately missed it, but what can you do? So this week I have a few hot topics that I have compiled. Let's see, before we get into that, what else? What did I do this weekend? Relaxed. Ran rampant in Target, spent money that I didn't have. Amazing, just living my best girl life. It was sunny for once in San Diego. It definitely is April showers right now. I always forget every year right before my birthday how gloomy and rainy it is. I'm kind of liking it just because I don't have to go out and drive in it and be in it. I like to observe it from inside the warmth and comfort of my own home. But this weekend it was really nice to get out and kind of walk around and relax, and I didn't really have any pertinent things to do, so that was kind of a nice relaxing weekend. So we are going to get straight into the pop culture updates. I have a few things I want to go over, a few things that have happened in the last 2 weeks. First of all, I'm going to save all the P. Diddy stuff for a future episode because I just know that shit is going to hit the fan, and I'm curious to see what comes to light in this whole thing, this whole debacle. I'm sure there'll be plenty to dive into in the future, and I want to have an up-to-date deep dive on that, I'm sure, because you have been listening to the news. So P. Diddy's house, who does he go by? P. Diddy? I think he's just Diddy now. Who remembers when he was Puff Dragon for a hot minute? But he is got some big, not officially charges yet, some big allegations against him. The feds raided his home. So there are no official charges yet, but I mean, if you have the feds banging down your door, I don't think things are looking very good for you. But he does have some trafficking allegations against him, which is, it's just crazy with this whole Quiet on Set ordeal and then this coming to light. And I just feel like a bunch of people are coming forward to tell their stories, and it's a lot. So we're going to skip that, hold space for it another time until there's more details and all that stuff, because I just feel like it's going to get very chaotic. We're going to jump right into Gypsy Rose Blanchard, my hyperfixation topic. As of late, she has just, and I know that this is a debate amongst people, and I agree we shouldn't make certain people famous, but this story is just so outrageous. You can't make this up. So as you know, Gypsy Rose was just released from prison very recently, right before the holidays, right? Was it? And she had a husband that she married while she was incarcerated, got out, went to live with him. 3 months pass and she decided she's done, and she's seen with her ex-fiance, who she also was engaged to while she was in prison, and it's a whole ordeal. So this timeline, I had to look it up because it's so fascinating and I cannot help it. So Gypsy Rose blindsides her husband, Ryan. His name's Ryan Anderson. And leaves him and gets matching husky tattoos with her ex, who's named Ken. And so this whole thing is just, Ken's mom even jumped on TikTok to weigh in and say, oh, they're just friends. He's just being there for her. And I'm just like, okay, first of all, if your parent is jumping on social media to talk about your personal life, that is a problem. That's weird to me. I never quite understood parents that capitalized off their children. We were talking about Honey Boo Boo the last episode. It's just so wild to me. I mean, I guess it's very common in this whole child acting realm, and that's why they have those Coogan accounts that we were talking about. But even family that go to press and sell their story to the press or give any sort of commentary on their child's life for money or not, it's so bizarre to me, first of all. So, backstory. So, Gypsy is in prison and she meets her first fiance, Ken, who, by the way, this is not the guy that went to jail for murdering her mother. She long ditched that guy. Met Ken while she was in prison. I guess he started writing to her. They started a relationship. They became engaged. And then in 2020, he broke it off with her, because he thought that would be best for Gypsy, I guess. Anyway, shortly after, like very shortly after, Ryan starts writing Gypsy, and they form a relationship and get engaged, and they actually get married in 2022. So they've actually been married legally for about 2 years, even though she's only been out of prison a very short time. And so she gets out, he meets her. I mean, they've met in person before, but he meets her when she gets out of prison. They immediately start living together. Gypsy goes on this press tour, and Ryan is with her. He seemed honestly like a really nice guy in the interviews, just this like mild, very kind guy. They adopt a dog together, and 3 months into it, Gypsy's just like, I'm not into it anymore. Keep the dog. Peace out. I'm gone. I'm gonna go get a tat with Ken. So that's that. And it's just crazy because at first, of course, the mom came out and was saying like, oh, they're just friends, blah, blah, blah. Gypsy's a spoken for woman. And then they were holding hands the next day and smoking cigarettes outside of the Dollar General. And she's just living her life, okay? And this is my hot take, which is probably not even that hot of a take. It's just like a normal one. Gypsy gets out of prison. She's only ever lived with her mom, who was this traumatic experience for her. Goes to prison, immediately gets engaged and moves in with some random guy. She's never lived her life. She's never had any sense of normalcy. And she jumps right into this relationship. Of course, she's going to go buck wild. I mean, getting married was a big mistake. That she shouldn't have gotten married to somebody while she was still in prison, first of all. But the whole thing is just really sad. Poor Ryan got caught in the crossfire. He really seemed like a nice guy. And he actually did come out on social media a few days ago and kind of broke his silence, so to speak. And apparently he was blindsided by the whole thing. He didn't realize that she still had feelings for Ken. And apparently his side of the story, he just said, you'll see everything on the Lifetime documentary. Because as soon as Gypsy got out of prison, Lifetime has been following her around and filming her entire life. So that'll be a very interesting documentary to see, and I, for one, will definitely be tuning in for that. Speaking of documentaries, I know for JLO was advertising her, is it a documentary? Is it a movie? I still don't know, but I know more than a year ago, I was talking about her album that was supposed to be released then, and she had announced it at least well over a year in advance that she was working on it. And I've said multiple times, okay, I was excited when she first announced it because it gave me the nostalgia of the 2000s. It just like gave me that R&B vibes, that soft R&B. I really enjoyed her first This Is Me, This Is Me Then, and then she came out with the sequel 10 years later, and I think it's the 10-year anniversary. It's called This Is Me Now. I briefly skimmed over it and listened to it, and I wasn't very impressed, and it seems like a lot of other people weren't. I think the album flopped, and the movie / documentary, whatever it was, flopped, and apparently JLO was very upset by that, which who wouldn't be? She has been working for a really long time on both of these if she announced them over a year and a half ago, because you think that if she announced it, she had already started working on it and it was in progress, right? So this has been a long time coming. So JLO can't catch a break. Her movie flopped, her album flopped, and the internet is dragging her over the silliest thing. And I'm not sure what this interview was for, like a Vanity Fair or something, I don't know, but one of those interviews where it's just like the casual one where the camera guy follows you around and just asks you questions. I don't think it's the the 70 questions with Vogue or something like that, you know those. I'm not sure which one it is, but there is a clip of her, and you know JLO is very well known to have grown up in the Bronx. Her whole thing was, you know, Jenny from the block, started from the bottom, look at me, I got my rocks. And so she was talking about her time in the Bronx, and the interviewer, the guy behind the camera, says, what was your go-to order at the bodega in the Bronx? And a bodega is like the equivalent of a small deli, sandwich shop. And the internet is blowing up over what she claims her order to be. So she claims, well, she lived in the Bronx, which, by the way, this could very well be true. I have no idea. I first of all, I have no idea. I just think it's a funny, like, the internet just gets up in arms over the smallest, most ridiculous things, and it's comical. We love the internet. The internet is cruel place, but sometimes it's a hilarious place. Her order is a ham and cheese sandwich on a roll, a small bag of chips, and an orange drink. And she says, if you know, you know. And so apparently people are just duetting this all over. Of course, there's always a car or something while I'm filming. So people are duetting this on TikTok. And I just have to play you one because it's that good. I have to play the audio. If you are watching the video, I'm going to put the TikTok up because it's that funny. Let's watch it.
What's your go-to order at the bodega?
My go-to order at the bodega was a ham and cheese on a roll with an orange drink, if you know, you know, and a small bag of chips.
That is the most plain fucking order. What chips?
This guy calls his mom, who lived in the Bronx, and asks her her order.
Lived in the Bronx. I'm gonna call her right now. I'm gonna ask her what her bodega order is. Watch.
Hi, Papi.
Hey, Mama, how are you doing?
I'm okay. You?
Good, I'm doing good. I have a quick question for you.
Yes, I probably have an answer.
When you were living in the Bronx, what was your go-to order in the bodega?
Let me see if I remember. A double triple boxy deluxe on a rack, 4x4 animal style. Extra shingles with a shimmy and a squeeze. Light axle grease, make it cry, burn it, and let it swim. And if you know, you know, my boricuas.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing sandwich. Like,
This part's funny.
for the drink, did you get, like an orange drink?
What the fuck is an orange drink?
Oh my god. So people are duetting this original interview with JLO and, you know, basically like going to the bodega, ordering what she ordered, asking people what their order is, and people are just dragging her. That very well may have been her order. That is just the funny little thing that the internet has clung onto this week, and they are running with it. So it kind of, there's been this running joke that JLo is out of touch. I mean, her whole thing was started from the bottom. Now look at me, I'm still Jenny from the block, but is she really? Because there's so many clips of her that shows her just being entitled. There's this clip of her in the Super Bowl documentary that she filmed, and I think she was in rehearsals and her hair was all messed up, and she pulls it out of her ponytail and shakes it all around. She goes, "This reminds me when I was in the Bronx," and people were making fun of her for that. What else? There's another one. There's so many things, but this one's lighthearted at least, and I think it is internet gold. Okay, so my next hyperfixation in the pop culture world is Jelly Roll and his wife, Bunnie. So Jelly Roll is an up-and-coming artist. He is not new to the music world, but he has been blowing up since I believe 2021 to 2023. He just won his first CMT award like a few days ago, I think. And so he is, he started out as a rapper, and then I think he did hip hop, and now he's transitioned into country. And I looked up his Wikipedia profile, and it's just crazy to read all the genres because it says hip hop, country rap, country rock, country, southern hip hop. And it's just so crazy, all these different genres that are getting more and more, the lines are getting more blurred, right? And there's this big whole debate. People are always up in arms when different artists cross genres, and I'm kind of getting off topic, but I'll get back into that. But back to Jelly Roll. So he is an American songwriter and a rapper. He is 39 years old, and I recently, this weekend, I was watching a podcast interview of him and his wife, Bunnie, and they don't typically go on a lot of podcasts. I think they said they only do it for friends. And they were on the Canceled podcast with Hannah Mojo and Brooke Schofield, and they just seemed like the most down-to-earth, kind humans. I watched the whole thing. I think this interview was like 2.5 hours long or something crazy, but I watched almost all of it, and they just seem like very warm, inviting people. They're just a fascinating looking couple. And you look at them and you want to know, like, how do they get together? They're so interesting. So I did a little mini deep dive on them. and we're going to talk about it. So, but yeah, they look like such a sweet couple. Can we talk about how gorgeous his wife is? She looks like a bombshell. She's this blonde bombshell. She looks like a Pam Anderson, all done up, gorgeous, and she also seems to be very, very nice. And from what I've read of her on the internet, and, what I've seen of her, she is a very nice person, which is like always refreshing to see in any sort of industry, and people like making tons and tons of money, that they're just good and decent people. Everybody likes to see good people win. So, who are they? Where'd they meet? They're suddenly everywhere. So, like I said, Jelly Roll, he's been taking off right now, but apparently he's been doing music for the last 20 years, and him and his wife have been together almost 10 years, which is crazy. So who is Bunnie? She is a former high-end escort who went to OnlyFans in 2020 and made millions of dollars from it. It's so crazy how many people you see making millions and millions of dollars off OnlyFans. It's like, it's mind-blowing to me. So she did that and then decided she didn't want to be in that realm anymore. Stopped that, took her millions, and decided she's going to create her own podcast. So she has a podcast called the Dumb Blonde Podcast. And then she founded her own media company called Dumb Blonde Productions, which has actually been very widely successful. And it just seems like, reading into them both, they both had like wild pasts and have since settled down with one another. And I think it's really cool that they got together before all the fame and all the money. And I was looking at this interview, and I think they met at one of his performances in 2015. And according to him, he was living out of his car at that point. So they really started at the bottom before all of this chaos. And now he's thriving in the country music realm. And it's just crazy how... And it's also a really big deal that he is coming out on top, because he is an independent artist, which is very rare these days for an independent artist to make it in the music realm, just because you have all of these big companies pushing, the Beyoncés, the Taylor Swifts. They're marketing these people and shoving them down your throat, and have somebody who independently puts out their music come out on top. It's just a really cool thing to see. There's been looping back into the whole debate about artists jumping genres and the genres becoming more and more wavy. Most recently, we've seen it with Beyonce. She has just released a country album. My thoughts are coming on that later. We saw Taylor Swift do it, 2016. She went from country to pop. She did folk. Machine Gun Kelly was hip hop and then rap. So this is not a new thing. Artists have been kind of jumping around, and people are always very uncomfortable with it. And people don't like different. Who said it? Taylor said it best. She said, you have to make something that's familiar enough that people can still relate to you with, but something new enough that keeps them interesting. But don't be too different, because we don't like that. And so, that loops into Beyonce and her new album, because I have thoughts. Cowboy Carter, and first of all, this is a long ass album. The album was an hour and a half long. I don't think I listened to the whole thing, but an hour and a half long, 27 songs. There were celebrity guest spots on it. She had Dolly Parton on it. She had Willie Nelson on it. Now, they didn't actually sing songs with her. They recorded these it was almost like infomercial style intros leading into her songs. So I don't think they actually sang with her. She did have one song with Miley Cyrus that I liked that the best. I love Miley. It was a good song. Overall, my thoughts on the album. not exactly country. It's like this gospel fusion country. Very, very different, very, very new. And I am just going to go out there and say a lot of people are going to feel weird about this album unless you're in love with Beyonce. You're part of the Bayhive, you ride or die for Beyonce, you're gonna love it. I mean, this album, I believe it's top on the charts right now, but it is very, very different. Not really for me, but I will say this: most things that push the envelope have a negative reception at first because people aren't ready for it. People aren't used to it. For example, Miley Cyrus and her Bangers tour, when she just went off the rails and she was like, I'm going to shake my ass everywhere. I'm going to stick my tongue out. And then she basically said, you know what? I'm going to start my tour with this giant picture of my face, and the mouth opens and this giant slide comes out of her mouth. And she comes out and slides down her own tongue onto the stage. I'm going to put a picture of it because I saw a video of it. I never realized that actually happened to the Bangers tour. And now looking back, that would have been a really cool tour to see. And people were outraged by Miley when she came out with the Wrecking Ball video, and they didn't really get the metaphor of it all. And, you know, looking back, it was a brilliant song, and it was a cool era. People were pissed. What else? Lady Gaga came onto the scene just being crazy, doing the most outlandish, outrageous things to get the attention and focus on her, which, if you think about it, is actually very smart. Who remembers the meat dress? And now people recognize Lady Gaga as one of the most talented artists, and they see her raw talent, and she's widely recognized for that now. I remember when she came out on stage, was it the Oscars? She sang that Sound of Music medley, and she said that she studied with a vocalist to change the tone of her voice and practice for months and months and months and months, and it was amazing. And then she was in A Star Is Born, and that song just took off. Before her, Madonna pushed the envelope. Most recently, we see JoJo Siwa, the Gen Z of it all. And JoJo Siwa was actually being interviewed on the red carpet, and she said something like, I always feel like my house starts making weird noises right when I'm starting to film, so if you can hear that, because I can, just ignore it. JoJo Siwa. Okay, what was I saying about JoJo Siwa? She's in her bad girl era. Oh, people were kind of dragging her because she said, there's nobody that's been in my generation that has done such a drastic transformation like this. And it's like, you could tell the interviewer was trying not to roll his eyes because so many people have done that. I mean, so many child stars just like left Disney and were like, F you, and just like went crazy and just completely changed their persona. What the heck? It's like a generator noise or the pipes or something. Oh, anyway. What was I saying? You could tell the interviewer was trying not to laugh. And you know what, JoJo, you do you, girl. But some people were saying, okay, if you're gonna like completely have a change of persona, you're gonna be a bad girl, you're gonna be in your Reputation era, just do it. Don't tell everybody like, okay, I'm gonna talk about sex now, and I'm gonna be like a bad girl. That good girl, she's dead. And and she came out on the red carpet, and she had her new, I think it was like her music video outfit, but she kind of looked like a little bit like Batgirl. She had like these bat wings on her like black suit, and her hair was done up with like, she had sparkly rhinestones on her face, and her big thing was the ponytail. And what is that noise? I swear, like the piping, it's so loud in my ears. I don't know if you can hear it on the screen or through the audio, but I feel like if I can hear it, you can hear it too. It's like driving me nuts. I don't know how I feel about her choice in outfit, but you know what? If you're gonna change your persona, be in your bad girl era, you do you, girl. And that's what I think about that. Of course, the sound stops right as I'm about to sign off. I think it's whenever one of my neighbors uses the hot water or something, you can sometimes hear it, which is so weird. And it always happens in the most inopportune times, right? Isn't this has got to be comical, right? That is all if you can't hear this on the audio back, I'm gonna look so chaotic. But that's all I have for you guys this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know, do you follow the Gypsy Rose Blanchard of it all? What do you think about JoJo Siwa's bad girl era? Do you listen to Jelly Roll's music? What do you think about his hot wife? We love her. I love her. And I will see you guys in next week's episode. Bye, guys.